on this week in our story, March 1st through the 7th, March 2nd in 1807, Congress passes legislation banning the slave trade. It would have prohibited the importation of slaves in any of the U.S. territories or the U.S. But despite the law, the legal importation of slaves continued for years. The last slave ship arrived in the U.S. in 1859 off the coast of Mobile, Alabama. The slave ship was called the Clotilda. March 5th in 1770, Crispus Attucks was shot and unalived by British soldiers, becoming the first American to die in the struggle for American independence from England. It is unclear exactly how he became involved in the protest, but the crowd gathered and began to taunt the British soldiers. Suddenly, a volley of shots were fired into the crowd, and 4 people died that day in an event which later became known as the Boston Massacre. March 6 in 1857, perhaps the most thoroughly racist decision ever rendered by the U.S. Supreme Court, called the Dred Scott decision, sued the St. Louis Circuit Court, claiming that they were free because their slave masters had taken them from a slave state to a free territory of Missouri. However, in the majority opinion written by Chief Justice Roger B. Taney, it ruled that number 1, blacks, whether they are free or enslaved, were not and could not be U.S. citizens, and thus were not entitled to file a suit in the U.S. courts. 2, it denied Congress the power to restrict slavery by declaring an 1820 Missouri Compromise unconstitutional. 3, it declared that the United States Constitution, in the quotation of "all men are created equal," did not include blacks. And 4, African Americans, that they had, and I quote, "no rights the white man was bound to respect." Dred Scott decision actually was so harsh, it angered anti-slavery forces to the point where it helped pave the way for the Civil War, which ended all slavery in America as we knew it then. And in March 7, 1965, with the first leg of the Selma to Montgomery March completed as thousands joined Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in protesting racial injustice, state troopers began to use clubs against participants of the Civil Rights Voting March in Selma, Alabama. John Lewis is beaten by a state trooper. The day, which later became known as Bloody Sunday, is widely credited for galvanizing the nation's leaders and ultimately yielding passage of the Voting Rights Act in 1965. Guys, I am so glad to be back giving you all the facts on our story with This Week in Our Story.